Okay, hi YouTube, Mr. Boss here, and in this video I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing Borderlands 2 on the PlayStation Vita. So, you may already know that I did previously buy a PS Vita Slim, but I ended up returning it. I bought that one pre-owned for £78, or I think it was, but it turns out that the condition really wasn't good and I wasn't really happy with it. Instead, I've gone and bought another pre-owned PS Vita, which is hopefully in a bit better condition. I paid £120 for this one, so that also came with a 16 gig memory card, so yeah, hopefully it should be. So the PS Vita version of Borderlands 2 is, to be honest, probably the definitive version of the game, considering it comes with all 6 currently released DLC. Now, I'm not really sure whether or not it's going to support future DLC, but I really hope it does, because any PS Vita support is good stuff. And to be honest, I think the game sold pretty well, so hopefully we should be seeing some future DLC. Now, the Vita version itself has had a lot of criticism, and I've read all the reviews about its frame rate and its technical issues and its bugs and its crashes and everything. And hopefully, after my initial impressions of the gameplay, I'm gonna try to clarify that and try to, explain whether or not I really do think it's worth it, or whether it's just being over-exaggerated. Because, it's going to have to be pretty bad for me to not recommend Borderlands 2 on the Vita. It's such a massive, expansive game that taking on the go is just going to be glorious. As well as, Platinum Trophy to collect. You can play it through 6 times with 6 different characters, and there's just so much to do. And it's a vast open world, so I can't help but be impressed that they've even managed to get the game to run on the Vita. Now to talk a little bit about the Vita Slim. So you may have watched a previous video of mine where I compared the Vita Slim to the original Vita, and to sum up, I actually thought the Vita Slim is a massive improvement. A lot of people criticised it because of the LCD rather than OLED, but to be honest, I really like the display on it. I think that because it's thinner, it's lighter, it feels like a much more futuristic device. The screen is great, and it feels really, really comfortable to hold. On top of that, the battery life is awesome, and the touchpad has been shrunk, so you don't accidentally press it as much. So anyway, here is my gameplay of the game Borderlands 2. Now, this is my very first impression, so it's not exactly, I've not played the whole story or anything like that, so these really are my first impressions. Now, my first impressions are really impressive. I'm actually just so impressed that it actually plays on the Vita. And as you can see, it really isn't as bad as people made it out to be. Now, I realise this probably isn't the most demanding area. Like a lot of people said that when you get to Sanctuary, it sort of slows to a crawl. But, this is the majority of Borderlands 2 is this kind of sort of closed environment. There are several areas such as the Dust and Sanctuary where things do get pretty crowded, and fair enough, you can excuse the Vita for dropping a few frames every now and again, but generally speaking, and from what I've experienced so far, the frame rate is actually quite impressive. Clearly this is no PC or console game, but it's quite a feat just playing on the Vita, and it looks more impressive than I can actually say to you in words. I think you need to really try it. The fact that you can actually play a game like Borderlands 2 on a device you can hold in your hand, that's just, it's beyond amazing. I really cannot express that. So as for how it seems to be running, so far I've not encountered any bugs or glitches. The game seems to be working perfectly. Slightly weird that the enemies just explode and don't leave any marks, but I'm sure that's something I'll get used to. Now, the few things I have noticed are that firstly, the frame rate does drop. Clearly this is not the solid 30, but it's actually something that, again, I think that after playing it for a bit, you'll sort of just adjust to it, and then you won't really notice it after that. Now, the other thing is the reduced effects of guns. Now, as you can see, a lot of the sort of flashiness has sort of disappeared from the game, and it's been toned down quite a lot in terms of visual variety. Now, I'm yet to actually receive any weapons of different elements, but I've heard that those effects have also been reduced, and that sometimes you can't even tell if an enemy is slagged, which might actually pose a significant sort of threat to the gaming experience. However, again, like I said, so far I'm really, really impressed. I probably will do a video at some point further on in the future just to sort of update you on it. And also, I think there is a patch incoming. I really hope there is, because I think when a lot of people complained about the performance of this game, Iron Galaxy did mention that they were going to try and fix some, if not all, of the issues associated with the game. Now, to be honest, I think that would be a bit too much to ask, and I don't think they would do that, considering they wouldn't be earning anything out of it. But at least something to just improve the performance a bit would be really appreciated, so I hope they do that. As for the sound quality, it's actually really good. I mean, I'm quite impressed that, you've got the full console quality sound here. There's been no sort of loss or compression as far as I can tell. I mean, that was clearly not the case with games like God of War, where both the audio and video cutscenes were apparently pretty horrible. But yeah, it's pretty high quality here, so I hope you will enjoy that. Now, one thing to note is that some previous reports have said that the enemy count has been reduced just to keep the frame rate up. Now, personally, I haven't even noticed it. I mean, there's been bullymong things flying at me the whole time I've been playing. And to be honest, I think the game is still just as difficult as I remember it being on the consoles and the PC, so as far as that's concerned, I don't think it's an issue at all. I mean, all the bosses obviously are still here, and all the main stuff that you want to see is still here, so if you've not played the originals, or even if you have, you will not notice a thing in terms of that. So the controls I've found so far are actually fine. They're not amazing, clearly, as we don't quite have the L2 and R2 buttons, but they work. Now the only thing is I can't quite figure out how to run. I've been trying to do it for the last 4 or 5 minutes, but I couldn't quite figure that out, but I'm sure there's a simple fix. And one of the real benefits of this game is you can actually customize it to the pinpoint however you want your controller to work, so I'm sure that each person will be able to find a setup that sort of suits them good. Now, one of the issues is that you do occasionally accidentally press the touchpad on the back, as I have done several times while playing. Now, this issue is reduced in the Vita Slim, but it's still present. Now, it's a little bit annoying, but definitely nothing that you can't get around. I mean, some cases will sort of raise the sides of the Vita so that when your hands come round, they're not leaning against the touchpad, and that's just a perfect fix for this kind of thing. Now, I know it's not ideal because when you buy the Vita Slim you want a really thin, light console experience, but it's a fix and it works. And I mean, I'm sure if you configure the controls somehow you could not use the touchpad. I'm not really sure, I've not delved into it yet, but anyways, yeah, first impressions are really good. I hope there's a patch on the way. Even if there isn't though, this is by far the best looking game on Vita in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't run amazingly, but it runs more than well enough, and I'm really enjoying it so far, and hopefully I'll continue to do so. And that's coming from someone who's played the game through twice on the PC. So yeah, it's really good. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.